Good morning. I hereby call to order this 19th meeting of the Pennsylvania Public Utility Commission for the year 2019, and I ask that you please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And the flag is that way. Okay. Who moved it? All right. That's a good start for the meeting, right? Who moved the flag?
Whatever.
Okay. I ask that you please note the safety information on the inside of the cover of the agenda. The commission will act on various matters at today's meeting, which is open to the public. However, since adequate forums have been made available for public participation in cases before the commission, there is no opportunity for the public to address the commission at this public meeting. The first matter on this morning's agenda is the approval of the minutes for November 14, 2019. And I recognize Vice Chairman Sweet, who is the editor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I've reviewed the minutes of the public meeting of November 14th, 2019, and move that they be approved as submitted.
You have heard the motion to approve the minutes. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Place. Is there any further edits, comments? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes 5-0. Now we will call upon our Secretary, Rosemary Chiavetta, to lead us through this morning's agenda.
Good morning, Madam Chairman. Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
Morning.
Your various offices and bureaus have prepared the following agenda items for your consideration. Therefore, let us begin on page 1 with matters presented by Director Monahan and the Bureau of Audits. It is recommended in an omnibus motion that the Commission adopt the audit report of Citizens Electric, Wellsboro Electric, and Valley Energy, and the MEI report of Columbia Water Company, releasing both to the public.
Is there a motion to adopt the staff recommendations?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Place, second by Commissioner Unora. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes 5-0.
Turning to page 2, it is recommended by Executive Director Mendelson that the Commission adopt the prepared order approving the appointments of James Dacey, Thomas R. Clark, and Jeffrey Canfield to the Damage Prevention Committee.
Is there a motion to adopt the staff recommendation?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Coleman, second by Vice Chairman Sweet. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes 5-0.
Turning to page 3, in matters presented by Director Sophie and the Office of Special Assistants, it is recommended that the Commission adopt in an omnibus motion both items appearing on page 3, the application of the City of Pittsburgh and the formal complaint of the Hanleys versus Pennsylvania Power.
Is there a motion to adopt the staff recommendations?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Vice Chairman Sweet, second by Commissioner Place. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes 5-0.
Turning to page 4, it is recommended that the Commission adopt the proposed opinion and order in the petition of the PECO Energy Company.
Is there a motion to adopt staff recommendation?
So moved.
Is there a second? Second. Motion by Vice Chairman Sweet, second by Commissioner Unora. Any discussion? I do have a statement for the record, and I ask that my statement be spread upon the record in its entirety. By order entered on June 18, 2019, the Commission approved PECO's prepay petition with modifications. Today, we consider the petitions for reconsideration and/or clarification filed thereto by the Office of Consumer Advocate, the Coalition for Affordable Utility Services and Energy Efficiency in Pennsylvania, or CAUSE-PA, and Tenant Union Representative Network and Action Alliance of Senior Citizens of Greater Philadelphia. I would like to address the security deposit issue raised by the petitioners. On our June 2019 order, provided that existing security deposits may be eligible for application to the prepay program that may be returned to the customer at the customer's election. We are not changing this determination today because no new or novel arguments have been offered. However, I urge PICO and the stakeholders that will participate in the collaborative process preceding PICO's compliance filing to focus on educating customers regarding security deposit requirements in the event that customer moves from prepaid service back to the standard service. As stated previously in my April 25th, 2019 joint motion with Vice Chairman Sweet, this is a pilot program meant to gather and study Pennsylvania's specific data regarding whether or not prepaid service is beneficial to customers and utilities. Prepaid service has the potential to utilize advances in technology to deliver expanded service options to customers. Of particular interest to me, prepaid service has the potential to help customers that have run out of options under Chapter 14 to get or keep vital utility service. I look forward to seeing the data, whether positive or negative, that will be collected during this pilot program. Are there any more comments before we proceed? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes 5-0.
It is recommended that the Commission adopt the proposed opinion and order in the formal complaint of Catherine Lamagna versus the Pennsylvania Electric Company.
Is there a motion to adopt the staff recommendation?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Place, second by Commissioner Coleman. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes 5-0.
Turning to page 5, it is recommended that the Commission adopt the proposed opinion and order in the complaint of Carla Matronics versus the West Penn Power Company.
Is there a motion to adopt the staff recommendation?
So moved.
Is there a second? Second. Motion by Commissioner Place, second by Commissioner Unora. Any discussion?
Chairman, I do have a motion on this matter.
Commissioner Coleman.
Thank you. I'd ask that my motion be entered into the record as though I read it in its entirety. Before the Commission are the exceptions filed by the complainant to the initial decision dismissing her formal complaint filed against West Penn Power. Among other things, the initial decision denies a request for a commission payment arrangement based upon the complainant's poor payment history. In each case before it, the Commission cannot act unless it has jurisdiction both over the parties to the dispute and the subject matter to the dispute. Lack of subject matter jurisdiction is an issue that cannot be waived. It may be raised in any stage of the case and may be raised by the Commission on its own. In this case, the record is clear that the complaint has an active Chapter 13 bankruptcy proceeding before the United States Bankruptcy Court in the Western District of Pennsylvania. It is well established that the Commission lacks jurisdiction to order a payment arrangement to a debtor with an active Chapter 13 bankruptcy proceeding, even where the balance is a post-bankruptcy filing arrearage. Accordingly, the Commission lacks subject matter jurisdiction to address the complainant's request to the Commission's payment arrangement. Therefore, I move that the exceptions filed by Carla Matrunics are denied consistent with the motion. The initial decision is adopted in part and modified in part consistent with this motion, and that the Office of Special Assistants prepare an opinion in order consistent with this motion. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Coleman. You have heard the motion of Commissioner Coleman. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Vice Chairman Sweet. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes 5-0. Without objection, we will take the previous roll call on the matter as amended. Seeing no objection, the matter as amended passes 5-0.
It is recommended that the Commission adopt the proposed opinion and order in the complaint of Alan Schmuckler versus PPL Electric Utilities.
Is there a motion to adopt staff recommendation?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Coleman, second by Vice Chairman Sweet. Any discussion?
Yes, Madam Chair, I have a motion on the matter.
Commissioner Unora.
I ask that my motion be placed on the record as though I read it in its entirety. Before the Commission today is a petition for stay filed by Alan V. Schmuckler in response to our previous order denying his smart meter complaint against PP&L. Consistent with the Commonwealth Court's determination in this matter, I agree that Mr. Schmuckler has not satisfied the legal standards to obtain a stay in this matter. As such, his petition should be denied. Therefore, I move, one, that the petition for stay filed by Alan V. Schmuckler on July 29, 2019, directed to the order of the commission entered July 23, 2019, is denied. Second, that the Office of Special Assistance prepare an order consistent with this motion. Thank you.
You have heard the motion of Commissioner Unora. Is there a second?
Second?
Second by Commissioner Coleman. Is there any discussion on the motion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
I will be voting concurring in result only.
Okay. The motion passes 5-0, noting that Commissioner Place is concurring in result only. If there's any, is there any objection to taking the previous roll call for the matter as amended? Seeing no objection, the motion passes 5-0, noting once again that Commissioner Place is concurring in result only.
Turning to page 6, it is recommended that the commission adopt in an omnibus motion both items on page 6, the price filing of Verizon Pennsylvania and the petition for reconsideration in the complaint of Wilson versus Pico Energy.
Is there a motion to adopt the staff recommendations?
So moved?
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Place, second by Commissioner Unora. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes 5-0.
Turning to page 7, it is recommended that the commission adopt the proposed opinion and order in the complaint of Evangeline Hoffman Laura versus PPL Electric Utilities.
Is there a motion to adopt staff recommendation?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
A motion by Vice Chairman Sweet, second by Commissioner Coleman. Any discussion?
Yes, Madam Chair, I have a motion on the matter.
Commissioner Unora.
I ask that my motion be placed on record as though I read it in its entirety. Consistent with my motion on Schmuckler case, I find that the complainant in this matter has also failed to satisfy legal standards to obtain the stay. Therefore, I move that the petition for stay filed by Evangeline Hoffman Laura on May 27, 2019, directed to the order of the commission entered May 23, 2019, is denied, and that the Office of Special Assistance prepare an order consistent with this motion.
Thank you. You have heard the motion of Commissioner Unora. Is there a second?
Second?
Second by Commissioner Place. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes 5-0. Is there any objection to taking the previous roll call on the matter as amended? Hearing none, the matter as amended passes 5-0.
Continuing on page 7, it is recommended in an omnibus motion that the commission adopt the recommendation in the complaint of Jeanette Lee Curry versus PGW and continue the omnibus to include both items on page 8 and both items on page 9, ending with the complaint of Angle versus the Metropolitan Edison Company.
Is there a motion to adopt the staff recommendations?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Vice Chairman Sweet, second by Commissioner Unora. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes 5-0.
Turning to page 10, it is recommended that the commission adopt the proposed opinion and order in the complaint of the Bureau of Investigation and Enforcement versus Joseph Leventon.
Is there a motion to adopt the staff recommendation?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Unora, second by Vice Chairman Sweet. Any discussion?
Yes, I have a motion on the matter.
Commissioner Place.
Thank you. Madam Secretary, I ask that my motion be placed into the record as if I'd read it in its entirety. Before us today for consideration and disposition is the staff's recommendation regarding an answer filed untimely by Joseph Leventon on June 27, 2019, concerning a commission secretarial letter issued May 8, 2019. Initially, the Bureau of Investigation and Enforcement filed a complaint at this docket alleging that Mr. Leventon has failed to maintain evidence of insurance on file with the Commission. In his complaint, BI&E suspended Mr. Levinton's certificate of public convenience issued on May 14, 2018, and proposed a civil penalty of $500. BI&E's complaint informed the respondent that he was to file an answer within 20 days of the date of service of the complaint, and that if he did not file said pleading, BI&E would request that the commission issue an order canceling his certificate, imposing the penalty, and ordering such other remedy as the commission may deem to be appropriate, including suspension of vehicle registrations and additional fines. On June 27, 2019, Mr. Levinton filed a pleading that he captioned as, quote, answer to complaint with new matter, end quote, in which he indicated that he had provided the commission with evidence of commercial automobile policy declaration insurance coverage through AIC, Agency Insurance Company of Maryland, Incorporated, which he indicated was operational for the term of the policy. Although Mr. Levinton filed his answer out of time and after the issuance of the commission's secretarial letter, he indicates that it is his answer and that, through numbered paragraphs, he is contesting the allegations in BI&E's complaint. Because of these facts, I believe that the matter should be referred to the Office of Administrative Law Judge for further proceedings, including any necessary hearings as prescribed by the Commission's procedures. This will provide Mr. Levinton due process regarding this complaint proceeding. Also, I would encourage the respondent to promptly file evidence of proper insurance with this commission. Therefore, I move that 1, the Commission's May 8, 2019 secretarial letter is rescinded, consistent with this motion. 2, the complaint and answer filed of this docket be assigned to the Commission's Office of Administrative Law Judge for hearing as may be deemed appropriate. 3, the respondent's certificate of public convenience is reinstated while this proceeding is pending, consistent with this motion. And 4, the Office of Special Assistants prepare an order, opinion and order consistent with this motion. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Place. You have heard the motion of Commissioner Place. Is there a second? I will second the motion. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes 5-0. On the matter as amended, is there any objection to taking the previous roll call? Seeing none, the matter as amended passes 5-0.
It is recommended that the commission adopt the proposed opinion and order in the complaint of the Bureau of Investigation and Enforcement versus John Fleur and Sons.
Is there a motion to adopt staff recommendation?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second?
Motion by Commissioner Place, second by Commissioner Coleman. I didn't know which one said, I'm sorry. Second by Commissioner Coleman. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes 5-0.
Turning to page 11, it is recommended that the commission adopt the proposed opinion and order in the petition of Lytle Property LLC.
Is there a motion to adopt the staff recommendation?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Place, second by Commissioner Unora. Any discussion?
Yes, Madam Chair, I have a motion on the matter.
Commissioner Unora.
I ask that my motion be placed in the record as though I read it in its entirety. Before the commission today is a petition for reconsideration from staff action filed by Little Properties LLC. The petition was filed in response to a commission secretarial letter denying the company's application to operate as a household goods carrier. For this reason set forth in my motion, Little Properties has failed to provide the necessary evidence of 2 years of minimum experience with a licensed household goods carrier. Accordingly, the application should be denied. Therefore, I move that the petition of reconsideration and staff action filed by Little Properties LLC on May 6, 2019 is denied, and that the Office of Special Assistants prepare the opinion and order consistent with this motion.
Thank you, Commissioner Unora. You've heard the motion of Commissioner Unora. Is there a second?
Second?
Second by Commissioner Coleman. Any discussion on the motion?
Yes, Madam Chair, I have a statement.
Vice Chairman Sweet.
Thank you. Commission staff denied the application of Lytle Property LLC because Lytle had not provided sufficient evidence of 2 years' experience with a licensed household goods carrier as apparently required by the Commission's regulations. It pains me to agree that this applicant has not presented sufficient evidence to meet that requirement. But I note that the regulation actually says that the applicant shall include, quote, a statement that the applicant has a minimum of 2 years of experience with a licensed household goods carrier or the equivalent, close quote. There is no indication in the regulation what the term equivalent means, and this petition for reconsideration of staff action provides the vehicle to return the matter to our Bureau of Technical Utility Services, TUS, to evaluate whatever additional evidence that the applicant might have to satisfy the standard. This action would have avoided requiring the applicant to expend the time, energy, and expense of filing a new application, which will follow from the rejection if indeed the motion passes. Because of the flexibility that the wording of the regulation provides, my preference would be to send this application back to TUS for further review. As it is applied here, the requirement for 2 years of experience for a licensed household goods carrier seems to be overly burdensome and too stringent for those individuals who are seeking to start a new business in Pennsylvania. I believe we should be supportive of those who exhibit the entrepreneurial zeal necessary to start a new business and not rigidly apply a standard without evaluating whether an applicant has equal, meaningful experience to offer. Accordingly, I will be dissenting from this motion. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice Chairman Sweet. Any other discussion? Hearing none. On the motion, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Opposed?
The motion passes 4-1, noting the dissent of Vice Chairman Sweet. On the matter as amended, is there any objection to taking the previous roll call? Hearing none, the matter as amended passes 4-1, noting the dissent of Vice Chairman Sweet.
It is recommended that the commission adopt the proposed opinion and order in the complaint of Deborah Reed versus Mill Creek MHP Management LLC.
Is there a motion to adopt the staff recommendation?
So moved.
Second?
Motion by Commissioner Place, second by Commissioner Coleman. Under discussion, I do have a motion I'd like to offer. I ask that Vice Chairman Sweet would preside.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and you are recognized for the purposes of offering your motion.
Thank you. I ask that my motion be spread upon the record as if I read it in its entirety. Before the commission is a joint petition to withdraw the complaint filed by Deborah Reed against Mill Creek MHP Management LLC. The complaint alleged that the Mill Creek was operating a natural gas distribution company without a certificate of public convenience and that the rate charged was excessive. The petitions to withdraw are governed by Section 5.94 of our regulations, and the commission must consider the interest of the parties and the public in its determination. Noting that the joint petition to withdraw is uncontested, I agree that it should be granted. I note that the nature of the service provided to the other residents in the Mill Creek development and whether they rent or own their homes is not known. Additionally, the allegations in the complaint implicate Section 1313 of the Pennsylvania Public Utility Code regarding the resale of utility service. Out of an abundance of caution, I move that we refer the issues raised in this complaint to our Bureau of Investigation and Enforcement for whatever action the Bureau deems appropriate. Therefore, I move that, 1, the joint petition to withdraw be granted in this proceeding. 2, the petition for interlocutory review is dismissed as moot. 3, that this matter is referred to the Bureau of Investigation and Enforcement for whatever action it deems appropriate. 4, the Office of Special Assistants prepare an opinion and order consistent with this motion. And 5, this docket be marked closed.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Is there a second?
Second.
It has been properly moved and seconded by Commissioner Place. Is there any discussion? Seeing no discussion, all those in favor of the motion will say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The ayes have it, 5-0. Without objection, we'll take the same roll call on the matter as amended. Seeing no objection, It's a 5-0 vote on the matter as amended. Thank you.
Turning to page 12, it is recommended in an omnibus motion that the commission adopt both items on page 12, the complaint of Treasurer Hoffman versus PPL and the application of Oriental Care LLC.
Is there a motion to adopt the staff recommendations?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second?
Motion by Commissioner Unora, second by Commissioner Place. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes 5-0.
Turning to page 13, and matters presented by Director Diskin and the Bureau of Technical Utility Services, it is recommended in an omnibus motion that the commission adopt both items on page 13, beginning with the approval of David E. Valero to the Advisory Board of the Sustainable Energy Fund of MedEd and Penelec, and continue the omnibus to include both items on page 14, both items on page 15, both items on page 16, both items on page 17, both items on page 18, both items on page 19, both items on page 20, both items on page 21, and all three items on page 22, ending with the application of EMEX LLC.
Is there a motion to adopt the staff recommendations?
So moved.
Second?
They
Motion
want to
by-
jump on that one.
Sorry.
And we'll give Mr. Diskin a medal for 7 or 8 pages of agreement and peace on earth and goodwill to men.
I like that.
I'm done now.
I like that, okay.
And women.
Okay. I can't even remember who moved it. I think it was by Commissioner Coleman. or-
Sweet, and then me. I think, but I'm not really sure.
I think it was
wasn't even sure
Commissioner
I heard.
Coleman.
No, was it?
No,
That's fine.
uh,
I couldn't even hear that. So many,
I'm too far away.
Commissioner
Harmony
Unora,
of
just so
voices.
you'll know, we don't work on a commission basis, so
yeah.
it really doesn't matter.
So how about I rescind my offer of a second and.
No, you're the only one I heard
Oh,
for
no.
a second. I don't know which one of these is. So I will give it to Vice Chairman Sweet for moving and Commissioner Place for a second. And we're all good, right?
We're all good.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes 5-0.
Turning to page 23, and matters presented by Chief ALJ Rainey and the Office of Administrative Law Judge. It is recommended that the commission adopt ALJ Calvelli's recommended decision in the application of York Railway and CSX Transportation.
Is there a motion to adopt the staff recommendation?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Unora, second by Vice Chairman Sweet. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes 5-0.
It is recommended that the commission adopt the recommended decision of Deputy Chief ALJ Cheskis and ALJ Calvelli in the petition of Pennsylvania American Wastewater.
Is there a motion to adopt the staff recommendation?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Coleman, second by Vice Chairman Sweet. Under discussion, I do have a joint motion with Commissioner Unora that I'd like to offer, so I'm going to turn it over to Vice Chairman Sweet to preside.
Thank you, Madam Chair. You're recognized.
I ask that our motion be spread upon the record as if I read it in its entirety. Before the commission is the petition of Pennsylvania American Water Company wastewater operations for modification to its long-term infrastructure improvement plan, or LTIP. The petition was filed on December 12, 2018. As is the process for uncontested LTIPs, the Commission's Bureau of Technical Utility Services began its review of the filing in totality to ensure it meets all enumerated requirements contained within the statute, regulation, and order. However, shortly thereafter, the Commission's Bureau of Investigation and Enforcement and the Office of Consumer Advocate filed timely responses requesting hearings to adjudicate specific matters. The matter was then assigned to the Office of Administrative Law Judge and did not proceed further before TUSC. On August 15, 2019, the active parties filed a joint petition for settlement that proposed to resolve all contested issues in the proceeding. In their recommended decision, the ALJs recommended the adoption of the settlement as filed. We concur with this aspect of the recommended decision and would approve the joint petition for settlement as filed. However, we do not adopt ordering paragraph number 2 of the recommended decision, whereby the ALJs recommend that the Secretary mark the docket closed. As is noted above, this matter was not subject to complete review by TES because of its assignment to the ALJ for disposition of specific contested matters. As we state above, the LTIP petitions must meet all the unique requirements enumerated in statute, regulations, and commission orders. The recommended decision provides that the parties attempted to resolve all outstanding issues and seek approval for the specific matters settled. As is the practice for a litigated LTIP proceeding, the assigned ALJs focus on matters subject to dispute and do not attempt to analyze and approve the LTIP in its entirety. To ensure that the petition complies with all LTIP requirements, the Pennsylvania American Water petition should be referred back to TUS for review of LTIP issues or matters not addressed in the joint petition for settlement. Accordingly, TUS should resume its review subject to the schedule applicable to the petition at the time it was assigned to the ALJ for review of disputed issues. Therefore, we move that 1, the recommended decision be adopted as it pertains to the August 15, 2019 joint petition for settlement. 2, the matter remain open, subject to the completion of the TUS review of the December 12, 2018 petition of Pennsylvania American Water Company for approval of modification to its LTIP. 3, the Pennsylvania American Water Company file an amended LTIP incorporating matters expressly resolved by the joint petition for settlement with the Bureau of Technical Utility Services. 4, the Bureau of Technical Utility Service shall complete its review subject to the schedule in place at the time the proceeding was assigned to the Office of Administrative Law Judge for hearings in this matter and submit an order for commission consideration. And 5, the Office of Special Assistant prepare an opinion and order consistent with this motion for issuance no later than 20 days from the date of this motion.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Is there a second to the motion?
Second.
It has been properly moved and seconded. Is there any discussion or further discussion on the matter? Seeing none, all those in favor will vote aye. Aye. Those opposed?
And I will be voting, concurring in result only.
Okay. It will be noted that Commissioner Place is concurring in result only. But the vote is 5-0 with that caveat. Assuming that there is no objection, we'll take the same vote on the final. The matter is approved as amended. Thank you. 5-0.
With Commissioner Place.
And you may now
Thank you very much.
take the throne back.
Take the throne, I love that.
Turning to page 24, it is recommended in an omnibus motion that the commission adopt both items on page 24, beginning with ALJ, Cal Valley's recommended decision in Eaton Sewer and Water Company, and continuing to include both items on page 25, ending with the application of Veolia Energy Philadelphia.
Is there a motion to adopt the staff recommendations?
So moved?
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Place, second by Commissioner Unora. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes 5-0.
Madam Chairman, that concludes the regular agenda. Turning now to the carry-in agenda. On page 1 of the carry-in, it is recommended by the Office of Special Assistants that the Commission adopt the proposed opinion and order in the petition of Richard Myers versus PPL Electric Utilities.
Is there a motion to adopt the staff recommendation?
So moved?
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Place, second by Commissioner Coleman. Any discussion?
Yes, Madam Chair, I have a motion on the matter.
Commissioner Unora.
I ask that my motion be placed on record as though I read it in its entirety. Consistent with my motions on Smuckler and Halfman-Lorry cases, I find that the complainant in this matter has also failed to satisfy legal standards to obtain a stay. Therefore, I move One, the petition of stay filed by Richard N. Myers on September 3rd, 2019, directed to the order of the commission entered August 29th, 2019, is denied. Two, that the Office of Special Assistance prepare an order consistent with the motion.
You have heard the motion of Commissioner Unora. Is there a second?
Second?
Second by Commissioner Place. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes 5-0. On the matter as amended, if there's no objection, we'll take the previous roll call. Seeing no objection, the matter as amended passes 5-0.
On page 2 of the carry-in, it is recommended by the Bureau of Technical Utility Services that the commission adopt the proposed order in the petition by UGI Utilities Electric Division.
Is there a motion to adopt staff recommendation?
So moved?
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Place, second by Commissioner Unora. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes 5-0.
It is recommended by the Bureau of Technical Utility Services that the commission adopt the proposed opinion and order in the petition of UGI Utilities Gas Division.
Is there a motion to adopt staff recommendation?
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Coleman. I'll take Commissioner Unora for a second. Any discussion on the matter?
Is there a statement on the matter?
Commissioner Place.
Thank you very much. Madam Secretary, I ask that my statement be placed in the record as if I'd read it in its entirety. Before the Pennsylvania Public Utility Commission for consideration is the petition for approval of the second long-term infrastructure improvement plan of UGI Utilities Incorporated Gas Division. Under its petition, UGI proposes to increase its at-risk pipeline removal rate from an average of 63.2 miles per year during its 2014-2018 LTIP to an average of 68.8 miles per year during its 2020 to 2024 LTIP, an increase of 8.9%. However, the average annual capital spending on LTIP eligible property will increase substantially from $127 million to $253 million, a 98.7% increase in capital costs. Relative to actual LTIP performance, average pipe replacement costs will increase from $1.96 million per mile to $3.68 million per mile. This substantial increase in planned costs relative to pipe replacement should receive additional scrutiny by stakeholders. It appears unclear whether such revised estimates are reflective of overall industry performance and/or UGI's unique situation. As an example, pipeline replacement costs for other Pennsylvania natural gas distribution companies under their current LTIPs, including Columbia Gas of Pennsylvania, Peoples Companies, and Pico Energy Company, average $1.99 million per mile, $1.48 million per mile, and $2.65 million per mile, respectively. UGI asserts that the increase is due to municipal requirements that increase restoration costs. Replacement of at-risk leaky pipe is an important objective. However, replacement must be done in an optimal and least cost fashion to avoid undue hardship on NGDC customers. I urge UGI to work more closely with municipalities and other utilities to implement additional cost-effective conditions for replacement of this infrastructure. The utilities and municipalities must fully appreciate the cost burden increased NGDC rates impose on consumers, and I would urge that collaboration is paramount to contain costs. In terms of these specific costs, it is important to note that this commission is not approving any proposed costs as reasonable and prudent. Actual spending is reviewable during quarterly distribution system improvement charge rate filings, and again, perhaps, during subsequent base rate cases. As costs escalate, it is incumbent on NGDCs to ensure that incremental infrastructure expenditures are justified based on expected future revenues from the served customers, just as the Commission scrutinizes such incremental costs associated with serving new customers. Accordingly, I encourage stakeholders to review these costs carefully to ensure that all rates approved will be just and reasonable. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Place. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes 5-0.
And finally, on page 3 of the carry-in, it is recommended by the Law Bureau that the Commission adopt the proposed order regarding the Act 129 Total Resource Cost Test.
Is there a motion to adopt the staff recommendation?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second?
Motion by Commissioner Place, second by Commissioner Coleman. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes 5-0.
Madam Chairman and Commissioners, the agenda is now clear. We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Thank you very much. Before we close out our meeting, we do have a couple other items. At this time, I'd like to recognize Commissioner Place.
Thank you very much. Haley. So, Haley Book has been a member of my staff for the past 3 years and is leaving the commission and taking on the role of Climate, Energy, and RGGI Implementation Advisor to DEP Secretary Patrick McDonnell. Haley has served with highest distinction and given particularly meritorious service to this commission and to my office in particular during her tenure. Of particular note has been her contributions and leadership on the low-income energy affordability docket over the last several years, substantial yeoman's work as analytical support for the Commission's representation on the Environmental Quality Board, the nuclear white paper that we put together last year, as well as international work in Kosovo and Bosnia-Herzegovina, particularly on low-income issues there as well. Haley's intelligence, dedication, thoughtfulness, creativity, and of course humor will be sorely missed. This is not a goodbye, however, as the Commission's collaborative work with DEP to mitigate emissions leakage through the development of the RGGI rule will have us working together in concert. So again, Haley, best of luck. Thank you. It's been a great pleasure.
We also want to add our congratulations to Haley as well. And I said to her the other day, our loss, DEP's gain, but they were probably saying that when she came here. So thank you very much, Haley. Continuing on in terms of the accomplishments of our staff, we have started a few years ago to return back to the year-end review of the accomplishments of the commission, and I'd like the opportunity to do that at this meeting as well. It has certainly been a productive year as we move forward with policies and actions again across all regulated industries. It's important to note that the commission's continued success is truly built on the efforts of our committed staff. I always say our staff makes us look good. So let me just go down through some of the areas. Energy affordability for low-income customers. The PUC took major steps to address energy affordability for low-income customers by revising policy on customer assistance programs or CAP programs and initiating a rulemaking for universal service programs. The changes are a result of a 2-year holistic review of CAP and a thorough examination of energy burdens as discussed in the PUC's 2019 Energy Affordability Report. On the issue of lead water line replacement, the Commission launched a proceeding to bring uniformity to lead line replacement under Act 120 of 2018. The PUC staff convened a working group to gather information and stakeholder input on how the Commission may develop uniform procedures consistent with Act 120 to address lead service pipes and damaged wastewater lateral replacement issues facing the state's regulated utilities. Our Office of Competitive Market Oversight, or OCMO, led by its Office of Competitive Market Oversight, the PUC continued moving forward on several fronts to further remove barriers to competition in the state's natural gas and electric markets, including launching a rulemaking to review and update the Commission's Chapter 111 residential marketing regulations, convening stakeholders to develop a program to strengthen consumer protections for First Energy CAP customers participating in the state's retail electric market. The Commission initiated a proceeding to look at these same issues on a statewide basis, and also launching a formal investigation of electric default service to see what reforms are needed as the next round of electric utility default service plans are prepared. On the issue of cybersecurity, we had a cybersecurity summit in August of 2019, and it was our very first one that we hosted in Harrisburg, bringing together more than 140 professionals from across the country, including cybersecurity and national security experts, along with utility executive, information system leaders, and infrastructure security professionals. The summit was part of an ongoing effort to help ensure that the Commonwealth's regulated utilities are protected from cyber attacks, guided by the PUC's Office of Cybersecurity Compliance and Oversight. On the issue of the operation of a Blue Flame gas outage exercise, the Commission continued efforts to enhance collaboration and communication between utilities and key emergency response and community organizations by joining with the Pennsylvania Emergency Management Agency, or PEMA, to host a second annual Operation Blue Flame exercise. In terms of our utility-wise programs, the PUC held its annual Be Utility-Wise Train-the-Trainer conferences across the state this fall. Forums were held in Bethlehem, Erie, Harrisburg, Johnstown, Reading, Pittsburgh, and Wilkes-Barre. We also launched a CAP enrollment utility fair in Delaware County. In total, more than 1,200 participants attended. On the issue of electric vehicles, in order to remove potential barriers and uncertainties surrounding the deployment of third-party electric vehicle or EV charging stations, the PUC approved filings by several electric distribution companies to modify tariffs to address the PUC's policy statement designed to reduce regulatory uncertainty, provide greater clarity and consistency among the EDCs, and promote increased investment in EV charging infrastructure in the state. Rural broadband. The PUC advanced the process to assume jurisdiction over pole attachments, creating a statewide forum to remove barriers in the deployment of enhanced broadband and other services. While approving the first ever eligible telecommunications carrier for a federal broadband deployment program in rural Pennsylvania, the PUC also supported the launch of the Pennsylvania Broadband Investment Incentive Program and pressed the Federal Communications Commission to secure federal funding. Alternative rate making. In order to provide incentives to improve system efficiency ensure that utilities receive adequate revenue to maintain safe, secure, and reliable service, the PUC adopted a distribution rate policy statement identifying factors the Commission will consider when utilities propose alternative rate-making mechanisms and the rate designs and distribution base rate proceedings. PA One Call and Damage Prevention Committee. As part of the PUC's jurisdiction over Pennsylvania One Call and its creation of a Damage Prevention Committee, the PUC held and live streamed 9 meetings in the year 2019. Overall, we took more than 1,240 actions against nearly 400 underground facility owners, excavators, and project owners. The actions resulted in administrative penalties totaling more than $850,000. Pipeline safety. The Commission approved an advance notice of proposed rulemaking order to help guide discussions about potential changes to Commission safety regulations that would more comprehensively regulate public utilities transporting petroleum products and other hazardous liquids in interstate commerce. On the issue of impact fees, the PUC distributed a total of $251.8 million in impact fees, the largest distribution to date. And over the past 8 years, the PUC has collected and distributed almost $1.7 billion to communities across Pennsylvania. On the issue of transportation network companies and background checks, The PUC approved its first ever review on Uber's driver background check process in Pennsylvania and recommended improvements to further strengthen the process in the future. A similar review involving Lyft is slated for completion in the year 2020. In terms of right-to-know requests, Rosemary will love this. In 2019, the PUC Secretary Bureau received 28,000 filings, with 65% of them being e-filed. Overall, the commission served approximately 12,000 documents and responded to approximately 160 right-to-know requests. And that's a lot. And I don't have the percentage in terms of what the increase is on that, but I know Rosemary does. But in conclusion, I want to say on behalf of my fellow commissioners, we wish to thank our staff and the entire PUC community for your hard work all year long. And we wish you and yours a very joyous holiday and New Year. Thank you very much. And without objection, and I'm assuming there's no objection, we are adjourned.